I had never been to a Final Four before. Went for the first time this year. Had never been to a super regional before. Went for the first time this year. And boy, I tell you, thrilling experiences both. Last week, the Michigan softball team gave Michigan fans a memorable ride. And joining us to talk about that and to look ahead to what's before them in the Women's College World Series is Michigan softball coach Carol Hutchins. Coach, good morning.
Morning, Sam.
Glad you could join us on a game day earlier for you down there, and so we really, really appreciate it, Coach. Want to just jump right into it and go back to last Friday. I know you've had some dramatic moments as a head coach, but man, they don't get much better than seeing what first Sara was able to do in the circle, and then see Ashley Lane really bring it home for you in that contest.
Well, there's a lot of old cliches you could use because the game's not over till it's over. But Sara pitched one heck of a game against Louisiana Lafayette, and I know they probably the people in Ann Arbor don't know much about some of the schools out there, but Louisiana Lafayette is a softball superpower in its own right. They have had enormous success, and we knew when they came in that we were not dealing with a smaller D1 program. We knew we had our hands full, and their offense is a unique style, as many of the fans noticed, but it's geared to hit home runs. And the fact that she had shut them down for the entire game until the seventh inning was just amazing. And it was unfortunate that we gave it up in the seventh and they tied it up. But, we only had 2 runs, so we were not, we were always in danger. And they came back, and in the 8th inning, hit the home run. And we went from being 1 pitch away from winning the first game to on the brink of, losing. Mm-hmm. So we just needed a base runner, and Caitlin Blanchard again makes it happen by getting on base and getting hit by a pitch, which is as good as a hit from anybody's standard. And Ashley she'd not had a good at-bat all day. And it's one thing to not get a hit, but she hadn't had a good at-bat. And just tried to calm her down and tell her to see the ball, but she could get it done and to see the ball, and she hit it over the fence. It's very exciting. I've never heard Alumni Field louder when that ball rocketed over the fence. In all my years, I've never heard it louder.
Oh, wow. Great perspective there, Coach. I think back to all the conversations we've had this season and how often you talked about Caitlin Blanchard and Ashley Lane, and it rung true, and we'll get to the finale again a little bit later. But in that instance, again, you get Caitlin on base, Ashley comes up with a big hit as well. It seemed to me, watching things unfold, you have certain players that when that moment comes, they want it, whether it's taking a shot, catching a ball, swinging a bat. They want that moment, and those 2 players seem like those kinds of athletes.
Well, and I could tell you that especially Caitlin Blanchard this year, with so many teams pitching around Sara Romero, she has learned to really embrace that role. She wants it. And I think Ashley, too. She's been in a similar kind of role and been able to really jump on the momentum that Caitlin creates. But that's the bottom line with anybody to get it done is you got to want it. Mm-hmm. You got to want to be in that moment. You can't wish that it was somebody else up there to bat. And, the chance of Ashley hitting a home run, well, she had, I believe, 17 or 18 to that point. So it's not a great. We were just trying to keep the game going, and we didn't feel bunting for her was the best option. And we certainly knew she could hit it over the fence. But and I will admit I was crossing my fingers. I admit that to the crowd. But it went our way. I think it was meant to be.
Right. All right, so, Coach, move on to Saturday, and terrific atmosphere. Again, weather's great. Stands are packed. People were actually getting turned away. But you had the Lafayette fans there, and they were They were there and active, and in that game, in game one of the day, they actually had something to cheer about because, as you said, they're geared to hit home runs, and they hit 3 on the day. So first, the Haley Sara switch, was that a pregame plan, or did you see something during the game that made you make that move? And then just talk about the game as it unfolded.
Well, they had obviously at the end of game one, they had really gotten on Sara, and we thought it had definitely dented her confidence. We felt we needed to start with Haley, but we didn't feel Haley pitches into their strengths, basically, and we were hoping we can get through one time through the order, which is not an uncommon thing to do, and give them a different look, and then to come back around with Sara. And in the first time through, Haley did a great job, but they hit her hard several times. One time was for the double play. They went from pitcher to first base, and the meat of the order was right on her. We just caught it, and so we felt that was the right move to make. And but Sara came out and just, again, her confidence, we were very concerned it wasn't there. And she didn't pitch well. She gave up 2 home runs in the inning we brought her in. So certainly anybody who wants to question the move would have every right to. It didn't work. So it didn't work for us.
And so they go on and they win that game. So in between, I mean, they announced that Haley was going to be the pitcher in game 3. So, but then obviously it winds up being Sara. So take us through that chronology of events because, Sara, you mentioned her confidence had been dented. Haley was going to be the pitcher, and then suddenly you tell Sara it has to be you now. So that conversation, I'm curious if you could take us in and let us know what you said to her.
Well, I found out as the teams were being announced on the field. We had warmed up Haley. We were going to start with Haley, and Jen, my pitching coach, Jen Brundage, pulled me aside. It was about 1 minute till first pitch, and said that Haley couldn't go, and she'd strained her arm, and she couldn't pitch. And so I ran down and saw Haley, and she was not in good shape. And meanwhile, Jen had prepared Sara. She got in her face and told her that she was confident in her and she could get it done and forget the past and just pitch in the present. And I thought Jen did a great job preparing her. So I had to go make a lineup change, and now I was not only going to start Sara, but she was a sub. It's meaning that I couldn't, if I take her out, she was burned. Because, the starters couldn't re-enter once. So I wouldn't be able to start Sara and then possibly put Haley in if she was able to pitch later in the game. So what I did, because we didn't have Sara in the hitting lineup at that time. She wasn't hitting well. She wasn't doing anything well. So I put her in the hitting lineup so that we would at least have the option to put Haley in if we needed to without burning Sara. So I had started Crummy in the DP spot at the 9-hole, and it ended up we had to put Sara in that spot. So it not only put my slowest player and probably my kid who's hitting lowest in the tournament in the 9-hole, it burned my best runner. So it was a fiasco.
Well, and I tell you what, Coach, I mean, it's tough for pros to rebound from disappointment. College athletes are more prone to the emotional ebbs and flows, and so to see Sara go through the confidence denting moments and then suddenly be thrust back into the circle, it certainly was a recipe not for how it turned out. That was as impressive a show of mental toughness as I've seen from a college athlete in some time. Now, I'm curious, you said this was the best crowd that you've seen at Alumni Field, loudest anyway. I'm curious if you can recall, reflect upon any player rebounding in that fashion so quickly the way that Sara did in that game.
Well, I don't know if I can. Honestly, it's such a mental disadvantage to lose the second game, and your team and your pitcher only has 30 minutes to adjust to the fact that they're in the losers bracket. The opponents have had 24 hours to get ready to come out and play 2 games. And no matter what you tell these kids, and our motto the whole tournament, both the regional and super regional, was we'll do whatever it takes to get to Oklahoma City. If it takes 2 games, if it takes 14 innings, I didn't want them caught up in that second game. because it's tough when two good teams play. It's hard to sweep. So I thought her turnaround was amazing, and I thought Jen's pep talk had everything to do with it. And the fact that we've worked so hard all year on being one pitch focused. So regardless of what she'd done in previous at bats, it was now. And the fact that she came out and struck out Narissa Myers, their leadoff shortstop, who she only had 8 strikeouts on the year, and she'd had a couple against Haley, but getting her out set the tone for the game. It was enormous, and I'll tell you what, she had 2 strikeouts in the first inning. It was huge.
Yeah, man, it was, I tell you, chills, goosebumps with what she was able to do in that game. It was, like I said, it was as impressive a show of mental toughness as I've seen. But now, that's the past. The present is Oklahoma in the Women's College World Series, Coach. So, wow, as euphoric as that was, you got to focus on the opponent before you, and it's the number one team. So tell us about the Sooners.
Well, gee, it just seems like every week our life never gets easier, doesn't it?
Right.
I don't know what you can say about Oklahoma. They are the Yankees. I mean, legit. They have got the player of the year, 2-time player of the year in Kalani Ricketts. Kalani Ricketts is lefty pitcher, big kid who throws in the low 70s, and she throws a ball that moves. It breaks into the right-handed hitters, curve ball or curve drop, and she is very, very tough. But as tough as she is, I think the biggest problem we have tonight is their offense, because they hit throughout the lineup 1 through 9. They have Lauren Chamberlain, who has 27 home runs. They have another player with 22 home runs. They're a home run hitting team. They're a power team. They have good speed. They are as balanced of a team as you see. Mm-hmm. They are legit, and we're very excited. We're playing, really, this is their home field. The entire crowd, we have over 8,500 people. The game is sold out, and all but a couple hundred of them are going to be cheering for Oklahoma. So it's just a fantastic environment out here, and I like the fact that our kids look at this as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to play the best team, and they really are up for the challenge. And we've spent the last 3 days preparing for Kalani, and they've embraced every challenge we've given them. They're in a really good place. They're not just happy to be here. They think they can win, and we're going out there to play to win.
Well, Coach, certainly what we've seen from this team all season and certainly in the postseason suggests that they will certainly be up to the challenge. Terrific ride thus far. Let's keep it going. So good luck, and we will talk to you again next week.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate everybody.
All right. Thanks a lot. That was Michigan softball coach Carol Hutchins. Women's College World Series. The Wolverines are, I mean, it's a tall order, no doubt, when you consider them playing Oklahoma in Oklahoma City. Not only home field, but a lot of emotion.
Last time I checked, Sam, the Michigan men's basketball team beat Kansas in Dallas when it was 80% Kansas fans, so I'm not overly concerned about the crowd.
ESPN2. You can watch it all unfold. ESPN2, 9:30 Eastern, so be sure to check them out.